It's almost comical how deeply we rely on passwords in our everyday digital lives, isn't it? A single string of characters, typically chosen in a hurry or recycled across multiple sites, stands as the first and often only line of defense for our most important online possessions: our bank accounts, personal emails, work files, and so on. This flimsy barrier has served us for years, but as artificial intelligence rises in power and sophistication, it's shining a harsh light on the shortcomings of these conventional safeguards. The reality is that AI can now break passwords with astonishing speed, making the security we once trusted look more fragile than ever. It's a new wake-up call. Let's pause and consider what passwords really represent. They're a human invention, meant to provide a secret token that confirms identity. However, humans are creatures of habit, comfort, and patterns. We reuse the same passwords on multiple platforms, pick phrases tied to birthdays, anniversaries, or pet names, and we rarely change them unless forced. This predictability is precisely what makes traditional passwords so vulnerable to advanced attack methods. In the past, hackers needed ample time and computing power to brute force their way through an account's passcode. Now, thanks to AI-driven systems, guesswork can be slashed dramatically, putting the average person's data at significant risk. It's not just about fancy algorithms, it's about understanding human behavior. AI has an uncanny way of revealing these shortcuts we take. It doesn't rely on random guesses. It learns from enormous datasets of previously leaked credentials. By studying patterns, whether it's capitalizing the first letter, swapping out O for 0, or appending 123 at the end, AI refines its guesses with every iteration. Researchers have shown that a well-trained AI can crack an 8-character password in a fraction of the time that older brute force methods required. As processors and neural networks grow more powerful, that window of vulnerability narrows even further. Before you know it, accounts once deemed secure for weeks or months could be compromised in a single evening. Imagine this being done at scale, relentlessly. The sheer scalability of AI-based attacks is what makes them especially menacing. In the old days, even the most determined hacker would have to focus on a handful of targets at a time, spending hours or days to crack each password. Now, imagine an AI that can process endless lists of usernames and passwords in parallel, rapidly chewing through possibilities at a rate no human could match. That means entire user databases, from social media platforms to e-commerce websites, can be targeted all at once. Any moment of weakness, a person reusing a simple password or failing to activate two-factor authentication can be instantly exploited. It's an arms race between attackers and defenders, and the clock is ticking. Let's translate that menace into concrete numbers. In recent security tests, experts discovered that AI-assisted hacking setups could break up to 40% more passwords compared to older methods. Initially, that might sound like just another statistic, but imagine those numbers applied across millions of user accounts. A 40% increase in successful breaches could mean vast sums of money stolen, a massive compromise of private data, or even attacks on infrastructure. This raises alarms not just for individual users, but for government agencies and large companies that store sensitive data. Financial records, healthcare systems, and intellectual property all become more attractive targets. In other words, we're facing a digital threat that could spark real-life crises overnight. Crucially, this threat extends beyond huge institutions and filters down to each individual. For the average person, a hacked email account can be life-altering. Old emails, saved documents, personal photos, these can be harvested to steal identities, blackmail unsuspecting victims, or phish their friends. If a scammer gains access to your social media, they can impersonate you, scamming your contacts or tarnishing your reputation. And the danger doesn't stop at personal distress. If your workplace credentials are compromised, it can open the floodgates to your company's network. An AI that cracks one unlucky employee's password could ultimately bring an entire organization to its knees. Such scenarios aren't just hypothetical, they're happening more often than we think. The natural next question: how do we shield ourselves against such a forceful, adaptive adversary? First and foremost, we must abandon the idea that memorable, easy passwords can still protect us. Short phrases, common words, or reused passwords are practically an open invitation to AI hackers. Cybersecurity experts advise opting for lengthy, convoluted strings that blend uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. But let's be real, no one can recall 20 different 16-character passwords off the top of their head. That's precisely why password managers exist. These tools generate, store, and secure your passwords, significantly reducing the chance you'll recycle weak ones. Using such services isn't foolproof, but it slashes your risk substantially over time. Another crucial component is two-factor authentication, often abbreviated as 2FA. Yes, we all sigh when we have to retrieve a text message or launch an app for a confirmation code. Yet this small inconvenience can thwart attackers even after they've uncovered your password. By demanding a second authentication method, you force hackers to pass an additional barrier, often linked to a phone or physical security key that isn't easily obtained. While not impregnable, it certainly boosts your defenses, buying you time to notice suspicious login attempts and shut down breaches. For businesses, mandating 2FA across the organization can significantly reduce the odds of a catastrophic breach, making every employee's credentials less tempting and more frustrating to would-be intruders. Beyond passcodes, AI also excels at orchestrating social engineering ploys like phishing, where users are tricked into handing over their credentials voluntarily. In its most advanced forms, AI can craft incredibly convincing messages or clone websites that mirror legitimate platforms. A well-executed phishing email can appear to come from your boss, bank, or favorite retailer, complete with realistic logos, personal details, and a professional tone. All it takes is one impulsive click on a malicious link, and you've effectively opened the gates for cybercriminals. Staying vigilant isn't simple when these scams are crafted to look genuine, but even a few seconds of caution can make a huge difference. Hover over links, check sender addresses, and never rush into revealing personal data. Regularly updating your software is also an overlooked yet vital form of protection. Hackers zero in on known flaws in operating systems, browsers, and popular apps. Once such gaps are made public, criminals race to exploit them before developers push out fixes and users apply the patches. Think of updates like patching a hole in your boat. Without them, the leak just keeps getting worse, and eventually, you sink. Automated updates, or at least frequent manual checks, can keep you from floating around with a giant, easy-to-exploit target on your devices. In this age of AI-accelerated hacking, you don't want to offer criminals any extra openings. As these assaults intensify, the cybersecurity community is mobilizing AI in defense. Threat detection systems now employ machine learning to observe anomalous activity, like sudden spikes in login attempts or suspicious IP addresses. Automated programs can shut down or isolate compromised accounts within seconds, letting human security teams step in to handle deeper analysis. We're essentially witnessing an AI showdown. One side harnesses it to tear down barriers, while the other wields it to erect new ones. The pace of innovation is staggering. The real question isn't just which side has better tech, but whether defenders can adapt quickly enough to patch vulnerabilities faster than attackers can exploit them. Unfortunately, the advantage often favors those on the offensive. You might think that only major corporations or governments need to worry about this arms race. But remember, every one of us is a potential stepping stone. A hacker might not care about your personal data, but they could still hijack your accounts to launch more extensive attacks. Compromised email and social media profiles can help them impersonate you, trick your colleagues, or slip into bigger networks. This risk is why cybersecurity awareness should matter to everyone, not just those in it. When your guard is down, you become an unwitting accomplice in these larger breaches. Talk about a worst-case scenario, right? By staying informed and cautious, you can avoid being the Achilles heel in someone else's system. Education is thus a central pillar in this new digital battlefield. We need more than just IT specialists who understand these threats. Everyday citizens must grasp the basics of secure online behavior. Schools, colleges, and workplaces should treat cybersecurity as fundamental knowledge, just like literacy or math. If people can spot phishing attempts, create solid passwords, and handle suspicious links cautiously, AI-powered attackers lose much of their advantage. This collective vigilance might seem minor on an individual level, but when scaled across a community or an entire company, it forms a substantial safeguard. It's akin to herd immunity. The more people stay protected, the fewer chances there are for threats to spread. This is where we can fight back. The future of this contest between AI-driven hacking and cybersecurity innovation is still unfolding. Will we see AI systems that autonomously patch vulnerabilities before they're even discovered by criminals? Could hackers use AI to orchestrate complex, multi-pronged assaults far quicker than any human team could manage? This isn't about tech, it's about people, policies, and collective will. Better education and ethical AI governance are also crucial. We can shape an online environment where these risks don't overshadow the benefits of technology. Share your insights, spread the knowledge, and safeguard yourself and those around you. What's your opinion about this? Comment below. And if you learned anything from this video, then like, share, and subscribe for more of these kinds of videos. Thanks for watching.